how to find out what you're good and bad at, and how to apply that to co-founders. Okay. First of all, I hate the questions. Oprah, what makes you so successful? Well, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and I get up at 5. And I do 3 hours of yoga, and my personal chef gives me like no. What did you do to get there? All right. So I raise that because the best way to get self-aware is to have a coach, is to have a therapist, right? And I've been coming. I first came to the US in 1988. I was a 16-year-old finishing a video game. I thought I knew America. When I emigrated here to the Bay, I had a rude awakening. And after about a year, I went and found a psychologist. And I said, how do I win without becoming like these people? Not like Americans, but like the Bay people, right? And I began my therapy journey. And I have spent well over a quarter.
From the Bay.
Yes, you resemble that, yeah. And the people from the Bay weren't the problem. It was all the people who were in the Bay trying to make money. We went to see the mother and father of the forest, the two most massive and ancient living creatures on the planet. And I asked a colleague if he wanted to come. It's quite a little drive through these tiny roads. He said, I haven't got time to look at trees. I didn't come to California to look at trees. And that could have been the attitude of a lot of people who are there just to succeed, right? I spent $250,000 on therapy, and I'm still nowhere near fully baked, right? I think it's a lifelong journey of self-discovery. Making it safe for people to give you feedback is key. My assistant, Siobhan, will sometimes go, no, it didn't happen like that. Or my kids will go, but you said you would, Dad. All right? And so just being able to not use those devices of microaggressions to discourage people from being candid with you is really important. In my organizations, we would do reviews where the reviews are in public, the QBRs, the Cloudability business reviews, where anyone could come. When we had questions, we would reveal every single question, and I'd answer every single question, so that people felt that they could come to me and hold me accountable or say what they really felt. And creating that sense of safety creates transparency. But it's hard. It's hard. No one wants to see the ugly corners of yourself. And learning how to do that is just a lifelong lesson. With your co-founders, what you're looking for is what they're like on their worst day. Like the best co-founder, I'm not joking here, the best co-founder to go with is someone you've gone to jail with, or someone you've gone to prison with, or the army with, or something like that. You've seen them when they're strung out, worn out, at the end of their tether. Now you know what your worst day is going to be like with them. But as for skills, I think that most people have one superpower, just one. Mine's pattern matching. All right? I can look at something, and I can see the pattern. I can synthesize a huge amount of data and go, yeah, it's like this, right? And that's it. And everything else is I can see. I might be slightly above average on this and slightly below or very below average on that. It's just that's my superpower. And for example, I don't have the discipline to go through operations. So there's this thing called EOS. I recommend the book Traction, describes EOS. It's an entrepreneur's operating system. It's a great way to run a business. And they have a visionary and an implementer. I will never be the implementer. And my best businesses, I've had a great COO who's all over the details, worries about the details, bugs me incessantly about it. Oh, stop talking about the details, right? But who makes sure those details get right. And that's my yin and yang. But the best way to find a co-founder is to work with them in some other scenario, do some project together. Dave and I have worked on various things. Mark Grimes in the back there has founded Nedspace and a dozen other companies. His special stick is getting cash flow positive in 90 days. So if you're interested in that, go talk to Mark, right? Just spend time on things, on projects together before you go do the big one is a great way of figuring that out. And asking people around, what am I good at?
Yeah.
What could I do better at?
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's not prison, but I also say go on a road trip. Like old school, right? Get in the car together, argue about what the shit you're listening to on the radio, where you're going to eat, all that other kind of stuff. Get the same hotel room, and argue who gets to sleep on the couch and on the bed and all that other kind of shit.
My mother-in-law hates to fly, and I drove her to New Orleans from Portland, and she read out every sign on the way. And that's when I got good at audiobooks. I had an AirPod in my ear, and I'm just like listening to the book and just tuning around. Yeah, so it's a great one. Yeah. So someone else had. Did I answer your question? Was that an answer?
Yeah. I mean, do you think there's good resources online, like books?
Yeah. So if you go to reboot.io, there's about 300 podcasts with Jerry Colonna talking with founders about what went wrong, all right? And just understanding all the methods that co-founder conflicts can happen, just gives you kind of awareness of those nasty corners, and kind of normalizes being open about things. In any business relationship, on the first day, you're psychologically the healthiest. So having conversations right at the start that are difficult is a really good idea. Like, if we could date like this, my bad habits are blah, 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 and blah. Ooh, you do blah? All right, thanks, great. Next one, all right? If we could just be candid about what we're terrible about, oh, I don't mind that, then we would have much better thing at dating. And doing that with a co-founder, I was in England last summer, and one of my staff who had just become a British citizen and now wanted to leave her company and do a startup, she had this idea, and I said, you need to have a heart-to-heart with your co-founder. It doesn't sound like you're on the same page. And that's why that company didn't start, because they had a proper conversation. My colleague was American, but her friend was British and wasn't really prone to being candid. And she really had the heart-to-heart, and they decided not to work together. Right, that North Star. Sorry?
What's that?
Reboot.io.
Reboot?
It's like rebooting your leadership. All right, Jerry Colonna, Collonna. He's got a whole archive there of people like me talking candidly about, and it just normalizes it, and it allows you to have that conversation with your co-founder.